this week's series of videos, I am going deeper into leveraging outsourcing for profit, but from the perspective of how you use the time that you have opened up for yourself. Because the temptation is to use all of that new time to bring in new clients and increase your sales. And I understand that temptation. We all need more money. We all need to improve our bottom line. So, and particularly if you have been battling, you've been battling to pay yourself, you've been overwhelmed for a really long time, that temptation is really, really big. So in the last video, I discussed the need for you to open up time for yourself for rest, because pushing through when you're overwhelmed, when you're overworked, when you're tired is actually worse for you and worse for your work than taking time to rest, rejuvenating, coming back healed, and being able to be more productive with the time that you have available. So as it feels counterproductive, but taking that time off for you as a business owner means that you end up making more money in the long run because you keep yourself balanced and you keep yourself productive. Now, the same applies to your team. So today I want to chat about using outsourcing to prevent burnout in your team, because 79% of surveyed employees say that they have gone through burnout or chronic workplace stress at some point in time. 99% of accountants do, and 85% of accountants admit that they've had to reopen books from a previous period to correct errors that they shouldn't have made in the first place, but they made because they were tired and overwhelmed and burnt out. So your team burning out is costing you at the end of the day. They are having to correct errors. They're making errors in the first place. They're having to correct errors. They're losing productivity. They're probably losing motivation. So they're not actually working as hard or as well as they used to either. In fact, in the States, the statistics tell us that businesses are losing $20,000 a year due to burnout in employees. That $20,000 is represented in things like absenteeism, from medical issues, from employee churn because they lose their passion and motivation so badly that they leave, and then from the drops in productivity because you are nowhere near as productive as you should be, burnt out as you are when you are healthy and balanced. So it is in your best interest as a business owner, it is in the business's best interest to reduce burnout in your team members and to prevent it from happening. And now outsourcing is a great way that you can do this, because when you go through those high busy times, things like tax season or heavy deadline submission time, you've got this huge overflow of workload that is hard to spread amongst your team members, but you don't want to go hiring a new team member just for that period. So you use outsourcing to take the pressure off, to spread the load evenly, and to keep everyone balanced. Yes, it is a cost, but it will bear fruit in the long run because you're not pushing your employees to the point of burnout. So they stay productive in the not as busy periods. The other time you can use outsourcing is when you get new clients with lots of catch-up work. I know I do this quite often in my accounting firm. So you get 2 or 3 clients at a time that are coming to you because they realize they need an accountant because they thought they would do the accounting themselves, but they never did. And now they're sitting with a whole year, sometimes more than 1 year's worth of bookkeeping that has not been done, and tax season is looming. So you need to get that caught up as soon as possible to get the return sorted, to try and get them compliant and to reduce their penalties. And that puts massive pressure on your team because they've got their month-to-month work. They've already got tax submissions that were on the calendar already. And now all of a sudden they have 12 or more months worth of bookkeeping to do on top of that. And again, that is a really good time to use outsourcing because it can be done in little pieces. It doesn't have to be an ongoing monthly investment. You can go to an outsourcing provider and say, I need 20 hours of bookkeeping for this month. That's it. Thank you. And they should be willing to do that for you. So it's a good use of outsourcing is to prevent burnout in your team members. And although it is a cost, I promise you it will bear dividends in the long run. If you look after the mental health of your team, they will be more productive, they will be more engaged, they will feel heard and understood and supported, and they will support you in turn. So use outsourcing to create time for yourself, breathing room for yourself. Use outsourcing to create breathing room for your team.